We're back again, I believe. Do a quick sound check here. All right. Clip. Do a quick sound check here. Yep, seems okay. Music up ever so slightly. Alrighty, post in the Discord. Gonna be honest, I wasn't super feeling like a stream today. It's kind of a late start. I've had to handle some stuff this morning and I've got a bit of a headache, but I'm going to jump in and do a couple of things on stream, and then I've got some admin and stuff to do later. But I'm going to try and keep the pace up, so we'll see how this goes. Hopefully the painkillers kick in very soon. Right, ripping straight into it today. The first thing we're going to do is going to be a little more technical. I'm going to be working on the spawning algorithm, I think. I'll quickly add this to Jira so we can track it easier in there. Make sure everything's all good on that front. Yep. Seems to be. Okay. Yeah, so let's add a couple new things here. Ninja. Lamprey. And what was the other one? Bobbit Worm. What's up, Doge? What I got so far? Well, I just started 2 minutes ago, so nothing. I haven't got much done yet. I'm just adding the task for the day into Jira, and then we're gonna get into it. But it's gonna be the Eternal Lurker. It's gonna be a little bit more technical today with the spawning algorithm up front, and then I want to see if I can finish the lamprey and possibly start work on the ninja, but we'll see. Or maybe fix some bugs. Just see how we go. What am I looking for? Here we go. Oh, we've got it right here. So I'm actually gonna do that now. First off, yo, John, what's up, man? So the design for this, basically, should I do the classic, like, draw it in paint situation? Essentially, we have a map, and the map is made up of a whole bunch of tiles right now. That's how our maps are generated. Like so. And when we create tiles that can fit in this grid, they can either be like one thing, or they can be like multiple. So you can do like a two like tile or a corner or something like that. And then we basically just go through and fill in the grid with whatever we can fit. And each of these tiles is like it could just be empty, or it could be like a kelp forest, or it could be a trench or whatever, depending on the theme. So we make these maps individually. Let's see. So here's an example of one. Here's our cliff style. You can see is, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's a corner one. So that would be, for example, this battleship type of situation. I guess that's a way to think about it. Yeah, when the map is generating. It's our procedural generation method. It's, yeah, I guess battleship. Yeah, but it fills up the entire grid. So once we have one of these tiles picked, like this one, for example, if I redraw that down here, Right, so this is the map we're looking at right now. I've been trying to think. I had a chat with Lemon last night basically about how we're going to design the system, and there were two ways we were doing it so far. One was authored, which meant that basically if I wanted a bobbit worm to be in this tile, I'd literally just go and put one there, and it would just be there, potentially on a random chance or not. But that means that if we want to add bobbit worms to the entire map, we have to go through all the tiles, and every time we add a tile we have to decide is there going to be one in there. So I don't like that system because it requires us to, well, it does mean that the creatures will be placed in ways that make sense. It means that there's going to be a lot of work to keep that in sync, make sure we author it correctly, and don't forget to add creatures, etc. So instead, what we're going to do, I'm pretty sure this is going to work out pretty well, but we'll see, is instead we're going to place spawn points in this tile. So we're in places that make sense. So we could have one here, like for example, we could be one here, and down here could be like a volume or like an area, basically, spawn point. And then what we're going to do is basically tag these spawn points with various tags, basically. So this one could be like tagged with, for example, rocks, and like I don't know, floor or something. I don't know exactly what the tags are going to be yet, but just for an example, this one could be like floor but not have the rocks tag, and this one could be tagged with like open, and this maybe would have the rocks tag as well, for example. Right, I don't know if that's very readable. And then basically what we'll do is feed all of the creatures we create. So like the we've got the Ninjin, we've got the eel, we got the, oh, that's too many E's. We got the worm, etc. What else do we have? Yeah, Ninja worm, like the lampreys, right? And then each of these will get put in like a big list in the game somewhere. And then when this tile spawns and a spawner basically triggers, it's gonna go to this list here and basically search through any of these where the feeding in the tags where basically the condition is met. So say, for example, the worm requires floor. That's all it requires, right? And it requires that tag, and it can have anything else as well. Then let's see, hang on, stonefish is another one. That one would require floor and stone and rocks. I don't know if this is making any sense to anyone. And then like eel would be like say open. Ninjin would be like open. Actually, that could be something like covered or like and then lamprey open as well. Right. So when we're trying to spawn a creature for this spawn point, we look at its tags and we say, okay, so it's tagged as rocks and floor. So what creatures could go there? Well, it couldn't be the Ninjin, couldn't be the eel because that requires open. It could be the worm, or it can't be the lamprey because it doesn't have the open tag. It could be the stonefish because it's got floor and rocks. So we'll put an S there as well. So it could be basically either of these two creatures. This one can't be Ninjin, eel, could be worm. It can't be the stonefish because there's no rocks tag, which means it's basically not near rocks. So that one currently will always be a worm. But there could be like other creatures eventually that spawn on the floor, like a crab or something like that. And then this one down here, this is tagged as open and rocks. So we can see The eel could spawn there. The lampreys could spawn there. And currently that's it. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that means that we're basically authoring like the spawn points in the tiles. Like this would be manually authored for all of these and set the tags and stuff. And then we basically feed a massive array of all our creatures to the game. And the spawning system basically determines what can go where based on the tags. And I feel like this is a good balance between we're authoring the spawn points, so we know that these are going to be placed in things that make sense, like stonefish, for example, are always going to be near rocks, which makes sense because they are supposed to be camouflaged. They're always on the floor, you know, they're not going to be floating. So it's gonna make sense where they get placed. But we don't have to manually say, hey, there's a chance that a stonefish could go here. Because, you know, we don't have to remember that for all these tiles. We just set the tags, and then if we add a new creature which has, say, the same tags as stonefish, but it's a different creature, then we don't have to do anything with the tiles at all. It'll just have a chance at spawning in places that make sense. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm pretty excited about this system. Hopefully it works out the way I think it will. But I think it's going to be a great balance between manual authoring and then keeping it flexible. Like for, say if you're making a mod for this game, you could just make a new creature, set its tags, and then do nothing else, and the game would spawn it in places that make sense. So anyway, that's the summary of what we're going to be working on at the moment. Like Iron Lung and you in a submarine or something like that. Oh, Doge, you haven't seen the game yet? Yeah, yeah, it is. I'll show you in a second, the game. Procedural generation map with set locations where creatures spawn but have a chance of the creatures spawning. Yeah. Yeah. I see what you're saying. So yeah, sometimes there could just be one particular type of creature that could spawn there. We can do that with tags as well. Like a tag could be, say, Kraken, right? And the only creature that has that tag is the Kraken, for example. If we want to manually author it like that. So it will still support manual authoring. But yeah, the game is basically roguelike, procedurally generated submarine horror survival game. Essentially, you get you have a little company you run in co-op or single player, and you basically have to reach a certain quota in a certain amount of time. And you reach that quota by basically delving into these drop sites that get randomly generated and looking for salvage that you can then bring up and sell to the corporation for a certain amount of money. Yeah, so that's the basic gist of it. And then there'll be like a shop and yeah, etc., upgrades and all that kind of stuff. But that's the general gist. So like right now, for example, Operation Alpha is kelp forests, low hostility, a high site valuation, but there's electrical interference. So I'm actually going to go for this one because it's got a higher... Oh, that's even higher. Holy, 99. I've never seen that before. So we travel to that site. All of this game is still very early, obviously, so it's still a lot of placeholder things. But now we've arrived at the drop site for Operation Charlie. So basically, we're in this giant submarine that is hovering above Operation Charlie, and when we're ready, we can go ahead and drop the anchor, which in editor still has a bit of a lag spike usually, so bear with. How many rare salvage? We got 9 out of 68, holy. So now you can see we have 10 minutes basically at this site to go and try and gather salvage and not die. So we can get in our sub, undock, and there's a whole bunch of creatures that will kill us, such as the Megalodon, electric eels, lampreys, bobbit worms, stonefish, etc. In fact, there's an eel right there. This is, I think, what we're going to actually have the lighting look like, by the way. That air will be drawn to my lights if they have them on. It'll be drawn. It'll basically come in like wrap around my sub and steal all my electricity. The only problem is if I have my lights off, I can't tell if there's bobbit worms, which there can be in these kelp forests. Let's see. So if I do a sonar scan, something got detected over here. And there's something behind me as well. Yeah, it's basically like Lethal Company, but in a submarine, I guess. I don't really like calling it that because I feel like it implies that I'm trying to just basically rip off Lethal Company. But I mean, I'm basically trying to make an underwater sub game with the same sort of game loop as that Lethal Company kind of genre, like extraction horror. You can see in the background there, by the way, there's the Meg. It's actually going to come over us in a second, so I'm just going to hide. As long as, so we made him blind the other day, so as long as I don't use my sonar, he won't kill us, probably. If I do use my sonar, there's a chance he will sense the electrical signals in the water like this and come in, basically try and kill me. But he's blind, so he missed. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of stuff is still pretty work in progress, but hopefully you get what I'm going for now. So yeah, basically you get some salvage. You can see I've got one there. I guess I can grab this one as well. I'm just keeping my lights not on all the time just because I know there are eels nearby and they will come for me if I have my lights on. So now we can basically head back to redock at the main sub, which you can see by those lights up there, or you can see on your display, your compass, where to go. Oh, that is a rare salvage right there. And I think that was an eel back there. I'll grab this. It is. So you can see, here's what it looks like when the eel gets you, by the way. It'll basically come over to you, wrap itself around you, and start draining your power. Still pretty work in progress, but it serves a purpose. So now I basically just need to get back to the drop site before the before I die or the Meg kills me. So I have full cargo, 58% battery. Oh, I think I just hit a rock there. I think it's fine. Here's the drop site. Oh, I just about got taken out by the Meg. Be careful. All right, and then if we get, right now you just basically get close enough to the drop site and then you can dock just like this. And now you can see we have some salvage here, and you can see you can't actually sell it right now because we're on a drop. 5 minutes left, but if I pull the anchor, raise the anchor, that'll basically end the day. So now we have 2 days left. There's no animation for it or anything yet. And now we're free to sell if we want. Currently the corporation's only offering 38% though, so it's kind of a shit deal. Love the idea, definitely like Lethal Company. A lot of people are going to support this. I hope so. It's almost exactly like Lethal Company. That is a better premise, I feel, for a game like this, especially if you make Bermuda Triangle map. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so the theme, right now, we only have one theme, and it's basically placeholder as well. It's the kelp forest. But there's a few ideas of like, basically the game is set after, in the future, after pretty much the entire world is underwater. And the only people that get to live above water anymore are basically the mega dystopian corporations and the skyscrapers that are still above the water. And the only way to get materials or resources or anything, technology, is basically the salvages, which you are running a salvaging company to go into the depths of the old world and basically sell it to the corporations so they can do stuff. So that's kind of the lore behind it as well. And then obviously, multiplayer, so everyone gets their own sub. Titanic, we could put Titanic down there. Adding epilepsy mode for the eel, it's pretty intense right now, Anyway, that is pretty much the summary of the game right now as it stands and the plans. So now I'm going to work on the spawning system. Maybe add in between lore for the folklore hunter game. Yeah, I still don't know 100% whether I'm going to set it in the same universe or not, or I'm tempted to though. Because this will have cryptids as well. So like the one I'm hoping to get to next, some of them will just be like normal underwater stuff. Like we have the megalodon and like lampreys and stuff like that. But there's also going to be like the Loch Ness monster, the kraken, this thing, the Ningen, for example. So, or like giant eels. So still has cryptids, but it's less about hunting the cryptids and more about basically just trying to survive in a world that's overrun by creatures, in the deep sea. Bloop. Can have creative freedom with the bloop. Making the Ningen today. Possibly, if I get to it, if I have time. But that is the next one I'm making. Bloop. Cryptid. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. It's a big thing that, like if your sub was like small, or like not small, but like if your entire sub could fit in its mouth, that'd be pretty cool. Like that. Yeah, I'm gonna write that down. That's a good one. I don't know about calling it the bloop though. That's a bit of a crap name in my opinion, but yeah, I can imagine that being cool. Anyway, so it's going to get a little bit technical today with the system design, but hopefully it shouldn't take me too long to do. Oh, it's the sound? There's, that mysterious, I feel like I've heard of that before. That's, yeah. I've heard of that. I didn't realize it looks, or supposedly looks like that. It's interesting. That's actually really cool because that gives me a bit of lore I can put into low frequency, high amplitude. Good call. Okay, so for the spawning, the first thing I'm going to do is set up the authoring system, I think. So I'm going to do some of this in C++, just so it's a little easier. Procgen, AI, not procedural generation, I guess it'd be under AI. And then we'll just call this like threat spawner. Threat spawn, threat spawn is fine, I think. We definitely will not need tick. Hopefully this headache goes away soon, or I am going to have to end the stream early, because if I don't know if this is an everyone thing or not, but with me, if I have a headache and just keep like looking at lights and screens and stuff, eventually it will turn into a migraine. So I've got to be a bit careful about that. They imagine it as that because of how big it would have to have been. Ah, that's cool. Alright, so threat spawner, we're going to say public. Like, this is going to be actually really simple. I just need basically a U property tag container. U property blue print read only, and then edit anywhere. That's pretty much it for this, I think. Like, literally. Basically just that, yeah. Alright. Alright, I'm doing this in C++. It's a little bit annoying because I have to, you know, close and compile and stuff. I guess I don't have to, but I just don't trust the live coding very much, so. Loch Ness, yeah. Loch Ness is on the list. Loch Ness, I was going to go the plesiosaur route. But we might have another creature that's a giant snake. In fact, one of them was suggested, possibly by you actually, and then Lemon was talking about, I think, what was it? I think Viking lore has a giant snake myth as well. Loch Ness is going to stop people, correct? Yeah, that's it. Your Mangder. Loch Ness, yeah, I was thinking essentially it would be basically passive unless you react to it or look at it, kind of like Enderman style in Minecraft, or you know, or move or anything. The point being you're supposed to kind of just not react to it and freak it out basically. Otherwise it'll be fine. If you do, it'll attack. It's kind of what I'm thinking right now, but I'll have to see as I'm making it whether that's a fun mechanic or not. I'm trying to give each creature like one like basically a one sentence mechanic or trait or whatever that sets it apart from everything else in the game. Like bobbit worms, for example, like I don't know what the sentence would be, but like you know, grabs nearby subs and pulls them to the bottom, killing them or something like that, you know. Lampreys, you know, covers, you know, like attaches to the screens of submarines and cracks their screen and reduces visibility, etc. So keeping them basically real simple in one like particular gameplay mechanic. But yeah, Yomender, Cherokee, if I remember correctly. North Snake Destroyer, Son of Loki. I can't remember. That is going to make it much easier to explain things to my friends. Yeah, I just want like simple creatures with one particular quirk or mechanic, and then based on the way the creatures interact or which creatures are around at the same time, that creates more variety than me making one creature with lots of things it can do, but that's always the things it does, which is a little bit of the problem Folklore Hunter had. Not problem, but that was the design limitation. You know, I had to put a lot of work into the AI, and the AI was kind of just is what it is kind of thing. But whereas this, I just split out each kind of thing that the AI could do into a separate creature, and then depending on which collection of creatures I put together, you've got a different gameplay element. Like for example, the electric eel is drawn to your lights when it's on and will drain your battery. But if that is in the same area or in the same map as a Ningen, the Ningens will only attack in darkness. So now you've got this like conflict going on between the two creatures, or not between the two creatures, but because the two creatures exist at the same time. Yeah. Yeah, if you have cryptid ideas, definitely chuck them in the Discord. Cryptid or just like deep sea creature like that you'd like to see in a game. It doesn't have to be like a cryptid necessarily. Like there's going to be like a balance between essentially real life deep sea stuff that is terrifying enough as it is, or maybe just bigger, and then some that are literally cryptids. As long as I just don't want things to be too magical is the only thing. Babies that you see in the water and they have black eyes. Oof. The long arm squid, yeah. Shit, what was that called? I have that written down somewhere. I don't know if I can find it off the top of my head, but yeah, whatever that creature is that has like the really long tentacles. God, my notes are such a mess. Someone will remember, or I think it actually might be in the Discord actually. It's one of these, isn't it? This one. Magnapina. But yeah, I want to have probably like giant squid as well. It's not really a cryptid, but I think it'll just be cool to have. And that's the point of keeping these simple too, is I can ideally make a lot of them. And that's also the point of the spawning system too, is like once I've created these spawn points and the tags, then I can just focus on creating the creatures rather than how they spawn and where they spawn and how it works and everything. I can just set the tags and call it good. Yeah, nearly all deep sea creatures are terrifying. That's why I don't want everything to be a cryptid, because I think it would be cool to highlight how scary the ocean is by default, but in the lore, basically, because the whole world's underwater and has been for a long time, there's been what I've been calling hyper evolution in deep sea creatures, because their territory is basically the whole world now. So everything is, it's like, back in the day with the dinosaurs, how all the insects were massive because there was more oxygen or whatever. It's basically that, but underwater. So like, everything is is in the deep sea right now is still there in this game, but it's like bigger, stronger, more mutated or whatever. Yeah. Pistol shrimp. Sure. I'll write it down. Is it pistol shrimp the thing I'm thinking of? The ones that like punch so fast it creates an air bubble. Yeah, I feel like I know it by a different name, but I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. Maybe it's not. It looks like the thing I'm thinking of, especially this one. Might have seen it in a documentary or whatever, yeah. it like stuns shit, right? By like just creating like such a strong snap that it basically stuns everything. If that's anyway. Oh, I'm thinking of mantis shrimp. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking of mantis shrimp. Yeah. Yeah. I think they are the same thing. I'm not sure. I'll write it down though. Or I've got pistol shrimp, mantis shrimp, whatever. So yeah, hopefully the game loop works well enough and it's fun enough that I do get to make a ton of creatures, but the main focus right now is just getting this game together relatively quickly, with a limited amount of creatures, and then hopefully that's fun, and then it's a case of just adding content. So yeah, so we have threat spawner, so let's go ahead, get some of this going. Spawners. So wait, one of them is going to be like point threat spawner, and one will be zone threat spawner. We'll just focus on the point one for now. So we'll have a billboard as the root. I guess I'll leave that for now, but I'll need to change the icon. Okay. And yeah, tags. I think that's it. So I'm going to test this with one of our tiles. We'll just do like, what's a basic one? Empty. So here, for example, this is a good one. We have a bobbit worm right here that I've just like manually placed into the level, so it's always there, which sucks. So what I would ideally want to do is put a point spawner in that same spot, and then set its tags to be spawner dot spawn tag dot like ground or floor. We'll do floor, ground, whatever. Okay, so we'll give it the ground tag, and then I don't think there's any other tags I really need to worry about right now. I might need to come back to these and do second passes or whatever. If I do that, and delete the bobbit worm itself, its vision is so cool, can move its eyes independently of each other. See in more colors. Oh wow, that's weird. Alright, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be back in a sec. I want to try and at least get this spawning system more or less done today. If I can, and ideally not have too long of a stream. I can see in 2 videos in the Discord, I have found that give examples of cryptids. 1 cryptid for each state. 2 videos, so we have 104 cryptids you can do for mods if people want. Plus some of them are... Yeah, send it, put it in the chat, the Project Deep chat, and I'll look through them. That's cool. Cool resource. Okay, so threat point spawner. So I'm actually, this is going to be kind of annoying probably, but I'm going to go through the tiles now and find the ones that have bobbit worms, and because that's going to be my test case, and replace them with ground point spawners. Ground. This one, because it's like kind of near rocks, I'm going to give it a couple of other tags. So I'll give it rocks. And I'm also, because it's kind of in kelp, I'll give it, what's a good word for like, hidden, or like, I guess cover. Obscured. Is the ever useful multi-purpose rock coming back? Well, probably not. But I did make this rock, which is the only rock we have in the game that is used 1,000,000 times as well. Both in the environment and for creatures. So, yeah. So kind of? Ah, shit. I'll do it later. Okay, so yeah, we've got these threats here as well. So we'll replace these with ground, rocks, and this one I'm gonna give cave. Hopefully you're seeing kind of like how I'm gonna ideally do the system now as well. I just hope this works, because if it does, it's going to be really cool. If it doesn't, it's going to be back to the drawing board a little bit. There we go. I think that's covered all of them. The spirit lives on. -2 because 2 examples were Wendigo and Mothman. Oh, you mean cryptids in general, not just underwater ones? Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I might pin the message later. We'll see. I'll give it a watch first, so I know what it is. Okay, this looks like it never spawns anything, but because we have the system now, put a point spawner. And again, spawn tag, grounds and rocks. I'm doing here as well. So you can see it's still like I'm still manually authoring stuff so that like stuff will be in interesting and cool places, but I'm not saying exactly what creature has to be there. I'm just saying like what kind of environment the place that I want a creature to spawn at is, and then the system will determine you know, what creature makes sense to go there based on those tags, probably based on the theme or the category or the depth in the ocean, etc. There's nothing else in here. Okay, we've got a bobbit worm here, so I will delete that guy. I think this is really cool too, because also if people did mod the game eventually and created their own tiles, they can just also add these tags, and it'll pull from all the creatures in the game or any other mods they have installed that might you know, have other creatures with other tag requirements, etc. So I think this is a very, very good system, hopefully. I'm pretty excited for it. Okay, so we've got another one here. It's going to take obviously a little bit of authoring to get these points put in, but once they're in, so this will be ground and obscured. It's hard to know what tags we're going to need yet as well. Like I could go crazy. I could say, okay, it's on dirt, it's got like foliage around it, etc. But I don't get too carried away with the tags just yet. Like, for example, right here could be a place that we say ground, rocks, and obscured. So it could be a stonefish, could be a bobbit worm. Volcanic theme, yep. That is planned, but who knows if we get to it. But that would be cool to have. So yeah, there could be tags based on heat, for example. Okay, almost done here. So here's another kelp forest one. I don't see any creatures in this one unless I'm missing a stonefish anywhere, but there definitely could be creatures here if the game decided. So I'll put one here. Ground, rocks. Put one here. Ground, rocks, cave. And let's put one here, because not all of these points will trigger. So this will be ground, rocks, and obscured. Yeah, cave tag. In case something cares about being in a cave or not, it's kind of like it's basically under something. Maybe eventually there'll be a creature that like kind of, you know, wants to be in an area that's classified as cave. So I've added it. But currently I don't have any idea of what that would be, so. Alright. It's kind of like just creating the tag ahead of time, but we may not need it. Okay, so this one will go ground, rocks. I'm just going to go everywhere lemon, put a stonefish. Ground, rocks. That one. Ground, rocks, cave. Any others? I think that's all of them. And we've got one more, I think. No, two more. No preview, unfortunately, for the YouTube video. Tried to do it, but I don't know what went wrong. That's all good. Not a problem. Okay, this is supposed to be like kind of could, you know, like a shipwreck or something like that, or a placeholder for one. So I'll put just one over here, spawn tag, ground, that's it. And then I'm gonna put another one here, and I'll say ground again, but we'll make a new tag called like I need a word for like there's a bunch of like wreckage, for example, like a bunch of like man-made stuff nearby. Wreckage will work for that. For example, sharks or something might spawn there. And then we got trench. Okay. This will be ground. I guess I'll give it the trench tag, in case something eventually cares about that as well. Like spawning kind of in crevices or, yeah, trenches or whatever, maybe. Or like more commonly found there. There's one on the wall, isn't there? Actually, let me... I'm going to add another tag called wall, just in case something wants to be on the ground but not in places where it counts as being on the wall like that. Cool, that should be all the tiles, I think. So now what I'm going to do is take out the current spawn system, wherever it is. Spawn threats. Okay, so this is all old, so don't worry about that right now. What we're going to do now is get world. No, yeah. Get world. Get actor. No. U gameplay statics. Get actors. All actors of class. A threat spawner. There we go. I'll zoom in a little bit so it's hopefully easier to read for you guys. So here's all the threat spawners in the currently generated map. Okay, now we need to do some math. So we've got threats chance per tile. 10%. Now we need to know how many tiles there are. So tile world size times itself. That's the number of tiles, and then const int32 num threats I mean, should it be random? Or should we just say 10% of the tiles have threats? Let's just do that for now. Num threats equals num tiles times threats per tile. I don't know if that is... There we go. That's how many threats we're going to do, and then we can just say for loop through that. We will grab a random threat spawner. Turn in both those cases. Otherwise, yeah, we're going to grab a random threat spawner. So let's see if I did this down here, didn't I? Yeah. Is the random stream. So RNG dot rand range between 0 and threat spawners num -1. I'm pretty sure that's, yeah. Spawn. Then we'll do that. Cool. So now we know what spawner we're going to use, and we know how many we're going to do. Now what we have on here is the spawn tags. So we need to use those to find a creature that matches those tags. So we're kind of at the point now where I need to have the creatures define their spawn conditions. So to do that, let's see, where am I going to put this? Travel, power, movement, player, prop gen. Just under gameplay, I suppose. I'll make a data asset. Am I sure I want to make this a data asset, not an object? Yeah. Data asset. And this will be threat definition. All right, and the threat is going to have, let's see, T soft class pointer to the A pawn. Pawn class. Probably edit defaults only. You're playing chess now. Oh, poor. Yeah, that's what they call basically AI creatures for some reason, or AI things. It's pawn. Probably comes from chess, actually, now that I think about it. And now, let me see. There is a way. I just don't know what. Well, I think there's a way. A type that's like, it's like tag filter or something like that. I think. Gameplay tag query. That's what I want. So that is, yeah, gameplay tag query. Okay. That's good. So you create one of these for each of the AI creatures, and then these would need to get registered somewhere. To let's see. Game instance subsystem. Try that. I think that'll be fine. Register threat, and then we'll do U threat definition. Threat. TRA, U threat definition. U function on this, blueprints, pullable, and let's do category threat on that as well. U property. Cheap viewers, no thanks. I'm good. I want the expensive ones. Alright, class, register threats. Okay, so now we just implement this real quick. Apologize if you're not into watching code stuff happen, but literally we'll just registered threats.add unique. And then if you're getting all, return registered threats basically as a copy. So we're gonna mess this up. Yeah. Initialize, we'll just registered threats. There we go, we'll include it. And let's see. Do the same thing there. Wonder why people spam that message. Yeah, I don't know. They must make money from doing it, I guess. Alright. Cool, so now when we are trying to get our threats to spawn, we can do that down here. So, U threat definition, all threats, U gameplay statics, get game instance this, and then get subsystem threat registry. What's the problem here? Threat registry pointer, there we go. And then all threats, this, if there's no threat registry, will crash, but you know. Actually, let's make another helper function. U threat definition, get random threat. Registered threat. If it's empty, return null. Otherwise, return registered. Oh shit. Okay, get random registered threat. We're gonna need if random stream. Probably a reference to. Registered threats. ing rand range between 0 and registered threats. Num -1. Alright. So now we can just say in here, we just have the threat registry. Threat registry, get random registered threats, pass in the RNG. And then if we have a threat as well, now all we need to do is, oh shit, no, we're not getting a random one. Okay, I messed that up, hang on. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, I'll fix it. Sorry about that. I messed that up. Okay. What I needed to do is I'm not trying to get a random threat, am I? What I'm trying to do is basically say registry get maybe we don't do it on the threat registry, maybe we just do it here. All threats. Threat registry dot get threats get threats like passing query. Query threats. And now we're gonna spawn. We need to pass in the spawners tags. And should we pass in RNG? Yeah. No, it shouldn't be up to the threat registry to determine which one. So this is sorry, this is getting a little chaotic, isn't it? This is going to be a T array. Of the options we have to pick from when we're spawning a threat now. Whew. We will get out of C++ land very soon, I promise. I just need to get this done. Get all threats. We don't care about this anymore. It's actually going to be T array of threat definitions, query threats. And we're going to pass through a gameplay tag container, it looks like. Don't want this anymore. I don't know, in a good spot, am I? I'll put myself here. Query threats. Let's see. We have the spawn tags. So now, okay, what are we in right now? So we need to T array. Yeah, there's the threats to return. Go through all of the ones that are registered, and then it'll be like threats dot because we have that query on them, right? Spawn tags query dot there we go. Matches spawn tags. And then threats to return, add threats. There we go. That's all we need. So we go through all of the threats and check that query, and if it passes, then we add them and return. And so now back here, is it here? Yeah, where we're spawning the actual threats, we have our options now that are returned to us, and we can say if threats options is empty, so we have no options, then say log warning text, no threats were able to spawn for tags what is it, %s I think, and then spawn tags dots to string simple. There we go. And then we'll just return. No, not return, continue, because we're in a loop. Okay, and then if it is not empty, then we basically pick a random one like we were before. Rand range between that and threats options num -1. Should be valid, but just in case it's not. And now we have the threat, we can actually do the spawn. So threat class the pawn class is null. Then we can continue, and then we basically spawn it and add it. Almost done in C++, I promise. Okay, so we spawn that threat class is now going to be this. And location and rotation, so actually we don't, well, whatever, yeah. Spawner, get spawn. Rotate, that's what it's looking for. Okay, and now we just need this get spawn transform on here, which will be we'll just default to the actor transform, but we can override that in Blueprint. And now we're good. Because the zone one, for example, the zone spawner is not going to be where the actor is. It's going to be anywhere in the zone. So yeah, we will start with that. Okay, and then we spawn it, and yeah. Don't think we need any of that anymore, as long as this somewhat works. Okay. Close that, compile it in, and now as long as this works-ish and doesn't crash, we should be able to get back into the editor to finish this off. And hopefully we can get this done before the 2-hour mark would be ideal. But we'll see how we go. Okay, we're compiled. So we're basically done. That system we just wrote then was when it was like basically doing this error. It was checking the list to see like, do the tags match the spawn point. We've defined the spawn points in all these. So now we just need to define this list basically. So I'm going to test that with just the bobbit worm, I think. So let's see, threats, bobbit worm, make a new threat. Bobbit worm, and the tag query is going to be we match against basically just being on the ground, I think. That's all this cares about. Actually, we'll do that one, and we'll do the stonefish as well. The stonefish cares about being on the ground, but also it needs to be near rocks, I think. The rest it doesn't care. Okay. Now we get to basically see if we... Oh wait, I haven't registered them yet. So to register them, what's going to be the easiest way for now? Do we have a game instance? No. Game mode. Threat registry, register threat. Yep, and I'm actually sorry. You know what? I'll do it later. I would just ideally like to make this an array, but I can just do for now this, but I'll keep this long term. So we'll register that, and we can also make it search for a folder structure, like find them automatically in the editor and stuff. But should be fine for now. I would have liked, and I haven't done it, but I will quickly do it now, to put in, let's see, when we register, info, display, text, registered, threat, And then we'll do threat dot get name. That should be fine to live code in. Distraction. Lost distraction. Okay, now let's see if we crash when I generate the level. Distracted. Nice. You got me. Alright, any bubble worms? Any stonefish? Not looking good, is it? Okay, let's check the log for registered. There we go, registered threats. So if I just play, yep, as soon as I play, they get registered, okay. And what the fuck? Player state tick. Dang it, I just opened my email. Why is player state printing like that? That's why. Compile. Okay. Nice to see you, Doge. Yeah, nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. All right. There we go. We're not getting tick spam now. Okay, I think what is likely happening is we're trying to do this way too early. Travel. Like, I'm pretty sure this will be empty right here. In fact, let's just say. Fairly sure that is going to be what's happening here. Let's doc, look at the log. Yeah, no threat spawn is found at level, that's why. Okay, it's because, yeah, the thing hasn't actually loaded quite yet when we run this function. So the next question is, where do we run this from? Set current dive site, okay. Okay, so here is where we need to basically do this. Yeah, I think. It still might not be quite late enough, unfortunately, but we'll see. Okay, so we did, yeah, okay. We did get some spawning happening. I'm not particularly convinced that is late enough, to be honest. Which is tricky. I'll make that its own function. How about that? Void, generate, or like, setup. Post, tile map load. Yeah, the timing is quite annoying here. I'm gonna have to just do it on a timer for now. Sucks, but yeah, the timing's off. And then, yeah, so you dive site manager. Needs to be a U function, eh? Just gonna wait an entire second. Yeah, this is really no good. Okay, we'll see if that works. I mean, that's just like a post load delay. It's ugly. But it looks like we need it. It might even only need to be 1 tick, I'm not sure. But we need to wait for the level streaming to actually finish. Yeah, that actually is kind of working. Stonefish didn't work. Why? Hitbox is being terminated but has 2 welded bodies. Tail cube. Yep, and we'll also add some spawn parameters in here. Where do they go? The last thing in the list. Basically to say, try to like move it if needed, but always spawn it basically. Okay. Yeah, so we got some stonefish spawned. In places that make sense. And also bobbit worms in places that make sense. Wow, okay, cool. Because that was where a stonefish was before, but because it's tagged as ground, it means it could be a bobbit worm instead. That's cool. Alright. The last thing I've noticed is my calculation on how many to spawn is not good, because we're assuming there's one spawner per tile. We need to say how many. On average, how many spawners are there per tile? Let's just do this for now. So 10% of, or whatever percent of the actual spawners will activate. It's not really supposed to be just hard-coded to 10%. It's supposed to be based on the hostility level of the map, but this should be okay for now. There we go. So now we've got like a slightly more reasonable amount of these, and they should always be in places that make some form of sense. Yeah, which is cool. And then if we, yeah, that's a cool one. I didn't intend that to be there, but it's cool that it can be. And then the stonefish should always be near rocks, right? Because all of the spawners, they require the spawn tag of rocks. Yeah, cool. You paused it. Uh-oh. You didn't miss too much. It seems to be working, I think. So I'm just going to set up the other... let's see... Oh, eel, there we go. I'll set up the eel as well. Giant eel. That will be linked to this, and the spawn tags for that. Is not being on the ground. Or in a wall. On a wall. Cool. So now I do need to quickly finish off the spawners, and then we are, I think, good. This system seems to be working pretty well so far. So for the zone 1 zone spawner, that is gonna just be basically a box. Yeah, we'll do box, whatever. Add a billboard to this one as well, just so I can see where it is. And then, yeah, and then when we get the transform, instead of being the actor transform, it's going to be like location. Well, is there a function for this already? Do I have to write it? Surely there's like a... like just a general math, like... random points in... just bounds, I suppose. Component bounds, center, extent. And then I'll just random times 360 on this one. It's a random Z rotation. Again, I could expose this, and I'm pretty sure this is going to mean that the spawning algorithm is always like, it has to be axis aligned, but I'll fix that later as well. Alright, now if I quickly go into a couple of these maps. For example, maybe not cliffs. Let's go empty. We'll put a spawn zone. That's basically the whole tile. And we'll say the spawn tag for this can be I don't know. There's nothing really relevant to tell it about this, I think. So that would just be like that. And then what else we got? Kelp. This one, I'll say obscured. This one's obscured as well, but I'll move it to like there. Rock formation. Shipwreck. Nah. Trench. Put one in here. That one I'll give, yep, the obscure tag. I'm going to put another one above it without the obscure tag. There we go. So now all we should have to do is go to the game mode for now, because this is still pretty ugly, and register our giant eel as well. And let's see, giant eel. It's configured to just not spawn on the ground or wall. So let's see if we get some spawning, basically. Yep. I see there's one over here. There's, yeah, one over here. Yeah, cool. This is working. So, yeah, they will now also spawn in places that make sense. And I can, for example, lamprey's not really ready, but if I wanted to, I could put the lamprey as well. And that's going to actually have the same, just not on the ground, not on a wall. And now those will be spawning in the game without me really having to, you know, add any special code or anything. Since we already have all the tags we need, there should now be a chance to hopefully, maybe, possibly have a lamprey swarm. No, there isn't yet because, sorry, one last step. All I have to do is add register it. Again, I'll probably make that automatic eventually, but for right now, you just have to manually tell the game, hey, this is a creature that exists in the game. And it'll put together all the ones from the base game and any mods or anything, and yeah, and go from there. There we go. So now we've got lamprey swarms happening. Pretty much, it looks like just one at a time. There you go, that time we got a couple of swarms. Cool. Yeah, so I think I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's working. There's still a lot more we can do with it, like having certain creatures have more preference than others, or give them like preference with if there's a certain tag, it's like twice as likely for it to spawn, for example. But this is the basic framework of the system that will allow us to partially author spawns, but not have to author spawns for every single creature, just every kind of like category of creature. So I'm gonna do a quick swim around. It's not swimming, is it? Drive around? What do you call it when you in a sub? Quick okay, that looks like, no, it's not a bobbit worm. There could be stonefish around here. So now I have no idea what's going to be where, because before I authored a lot of the spawn points, I knew where they could be. Now it's completely over to the game. I've just told it like, here, this is a spot near rocks if you want to put something there, and it's totally up to the game what stuff gets spawned where, which makes it a lot more interesting for me because I now have to be a lot more careful myself. Piloting, yeah, that's probably it, isn't it? Two bits of salvage, nice. And also the other good thing is that all creatures are now using a similar, or they're using the same system to spawn, but they can still spawn in different ways, like the eels, for example, and the stuff on the ground. I am noticing like quite a lack of spawning creatures though, so hopefully it's not broken. It might just be that the amount that I'm spawning is too low right now. Ooh, gonna drop that and grab the rare salvage. Ideally, I want to see something, so I know this is working. Okay, I'm gonna just for now just up the rate from 0.1 to 50%. So 50% of the spawners will activate now, and that should just make it so I find stuff a little quicker, hopefully. And if this works, we are bang on the 2-hour mark, which was my goal. 11 salvage, nice. Oh, what was that? Meg? Oh, that's an eel over there. Was this a trench? Oh god, this is actually terrifying now because, yep, I know there can be worms. Oh god, and the eels on me. I know there can be worms in this trench, which there is one right there. And one there. Oh god, get out of here. Turn your lights off so that eel doesn't get you. Oh my god, there's another eel over there. Okay, and there could be bobbit worms in... Okay, yeah. It's pretty good with 50%, to be honest. There's stuff everywhere now, which is pretty cool. Definitely makes things feel a lot more lively. Lots of eels. Uh-oh. And somewhere, I don't actually see where it is. There's a lamprey swarm that got me. Yeah, what the heck? It's around here, but I don't see it. Okay, so they're a little broken as well. There's the Meg. Okay, yeah. Oh, God. Okay, this feels a lot more terrifying now. Which is good. Oh god, okay, and he did activate, and I'm getting shocked. And the bubble worm got me. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, 50% might be a little extreme. The worm got me. And I got electrocuted, so it's all... now here comes the Meg. Okay. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I think this is pretty good for roguelike. Spawning. So now we just need to fill out the creatures and add a whole bunch of spawn points with different tags. Yeah, that should be good. 50% chance of an eel. Not really. There's a 50% chance of a spawner to activate. The eels... It's kind of complicated to figure out what the chance of spawning is now, because the eels spawn anywhere that there's ground, there's not ground or wall tags applied. But some of those points will be taken up by lampreys or other creatures. So yeah, I don't know. It seems like they're quite common though. No, so yeah, that's the thing. There's no spawn point now specifically says what creature has to spawn there. It just says like what the sort of like environment is kind of like whether it's obscured or near rocks or whatever, and then the creature is picked by the game, which does mean it's a little harder to tell what the chances of spawns are going to be. Like there is... What the hell? That's weird. There's like 4 stonefish. Pretty sure there's a stonefish on there. Get off. Yeah, that's something interesting happened there. So what tile is that? The rock one. Okay. I thought that sonar ping was an eel. It's the Meg. Although now I do know I am kind of safe around him, which is possibly not a good thing. Unless I sonar ping. Before he used to be able to see you as well. Now he can't. He only can sense electrical pulses, so I don't know. He should be able to. Oh, yep, here it comes. All right. Holy. Okay. I'm dead. Cool. All right, this is getting fun. This is good. This is a good good change. That's a lot of eels. But damn, yeah, that's heaps of eels and heaps of okay. This is very dangerous now. You can see all the worms. But yeah, anyway. All right. I'm going to leave the stream there for today. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll catch you all in the next one.